Jordi, what happened mainly in that fourth quarter? You guys took the lead, but just what did you see in those last few minutes?
I thought that group of the bench did a great job bringing us back, and we couldn't sustain it. And sometimes it's just, game is not going your way, but then your teammates make the run, they could not finish the game. Then you got to come in and bring that energy again. And we were not able to sustain that towards the end. We have 15 assists in the first half and only 8 in the second. Ball was not moving, but also like the cuts, not just the ball movement, also the body movement. And then we stopped running. We had 22 fast break points, season high, great number, right, in the first half. And then we had only 2 fast break points in the second half. So, obviously we fouled a lot, so it's harder to run when you are, allowing free throws. But all those things together, we got to learn from our mistakes. And, the good thing is I know the group will pay attention, will work. We'll show up and try to be better next game, because when you play the same team, that's kind of fun because it's like a series. So, it makes it better.
You mentioned that pace, those 22 fast break points. You said that you wanted to see that more during pregame. What did you like about your group and how they were able to get out on the run? Or was there anything that Boston did to slow it down the second half?
No, like I said, it's like we allowed 9 second chance points. So if you don't rebound, you don't run. We foul too much. So if they're shooting free throws, you don't run. So all those things affected our ability to run. And, we just got to be better, give them credit. They know what they're doing and their experience, and they play hard. They're well coached. So it's a good challenge for us. We created enough turnovers. We were aggressive. But at the end of the day, not good enough to win. And we have high standards for ourselves here and high expectations and how we compete. So we're excited about the next one.
I'd be interested. A lot of guys got the chance at Jaylen Brown tonight. I know Noah kind of got the first opportunity, but your thoughts on just the way that they handled him on the ball? It felt like he did have to at least, he ends up with 29, some of those late, but that he had to work for it. I don't know what your thoughts are on the way that you guys defended him.
Yeah, we foul him a lot, and, he took over and between that third and fourth, and, I like the effort. We just got to be better. And I can help them more with trying to get the ball out of his hands. But, proud of the guy's effort. Obviously, he's a super player, and, it's not an easy task. But like you said, a lot of our guys had the chance to guard him. And, those reps are very important. So we'll have to watch it and then learn from it.
Yegor came out in the second half and had a couple turnovers in the backcourt and didn't hit the threes that he hit in the first half. But I was just wondering, what are the mistakes or negative plays for a rookie, a young player that you maybe want them to play through, and then the ones he played less after that maybe are handled differently. He sat for a while. I guess what delineates that in your mind?
The first time I didn't just sub him out. I subbed the whole first unit out, and then we made a run. So sometimes it's just coaching. And another one is, you have to, mistakes are fine. A lot of times is you're going to have to go out there and try to find a different matchup or whatever it is. Like, obviously with him, we have shooting and we have another ball handler. But I'm happy with all his mistakes. I'm happy with the way he played. Wanted him to be aggressive. He took 10 shots. I want him to keep shooting. I want him to keep touching the paint. I want him to keep spraying the ball and then challenge himself defensively. So he's done a good job. I have nothing, obviously I'll watch film right now. I cannot answer really to your questions because it's really hard to remember 48 minutes every, all the possessions and all my subs and everything. But I felt like I subbed all the starters out in the third, and that second unit brought us back into the game. So great effort by that second group, and, we got to be there supporting each other. That's the most important thing.
For Yegor or any rookie, in a second half like this where Yegor or any rookie guy is struggling like that, do you see value in those guys playing through those mistakes, or do you feel like sometimes that can be almost counterproductive on a night where they don't have it to just leave them out there if they're struggling?
Yeah, I see a different game than you guys. I don't see a struggle out there. I just see everybody turns it over, everybody misses shots. He's not the only one. Like, I make mistakes too when I sub guys at times. So they live with my mistakes. I live with them, and I'm very happy with how they play, how they compete. 23 minutes for him, 12 points, 24 minutes for Drake. Great job, but everybody else, we have high standards for all of them. Michael made mistakes, Nick made mistakes, so I don't see it that way. So I'm happy with them, and I'll keep coaching right there, and at times feeling like whatever I can do to go get the win and help the team compete. But very, very happy and proud of the rookies and everybody else.
In these last 3 games, you guys are up in turnovers forced. I think it's around 17 per game these last 3 games. Just, is there anything you feel you guys are doing differently defensively to force those turnovers, or is it just more of the intensity ramping up?
Yeah, I think it's more of the getting 1% better. Our ball pressure's been better. We've seen that in our, what we chart game to game. Our deflections have been up, and you can be a little bit more aggressive with your coverages when your ball pressure and your deflections are up. Because if you don't have those 2 things first, it's hard to go and put 2 on the ball, because now that is too soft of a double team or whatever the case may be. So trying to find that rhythm. The guys are playing hard. Like you said, we created enough turnovers, and then we got points out of it. We won it by 6, the points of turnovers battle. We just got to keep getting better, work at it. We have 1 good day of practice, which always helps, and the group is always ready to, bring good energy and work. So these days in between are very important for us.
It seemed like, obviously, through the first half into the second half, the 3-pointers were falling nicely. And then when that dried up a little bit, maybe, how tough is it for a young team to sort of find something else that's going to work in the middle of a game when what was working sort of isn't working as well anymore?
I don't remember exactly how many we shot in the first half. I felt like the shots were fine. I want them to keep shooting those threes. At the end of the day, when you shoot 37%, 38 attempts, that's a very good number. And you have to understand that if you miss 5 good ones, you got to keep shooting them because the makes are coming. So if you just stuck with the small sample size, it's a mind game. And you just got to keep trusting the pass and your teammates and the right shots. So with that, I have no problem. Probably I would say maybe shoot a little bit more. That would have, if we shoot more and we take less in between shots or shooting in the crowd and all that, that would have helped. So again, I have to watch the game again, but in that second half, 38 points, it feels like we were stagnant in the half court and in the full court. So that's usually not a good recipe for success.
Thank you.
There's one more here.
So obviously hasn't been the best start to the season, but in the context of developing young players and obviously the draft next year, how do you balance basically winning the future and winning games right now?
Winning starts now, and I think I don't know if you've been in the pregame or postgame press conferences, but playing this competitive brand of basketball against a very good team, it's important. And a lot of you guys will not see wins on the standings. And we have high standards. Obviously, we want to win. We played to win. We competed to win. But also the wins are, the future Neds that will play in a few years in a winning team are getting their minutes and getting better. So we figured out how to make our players better, see how they grow. Obviously, minutes are very important, but accountability is very important too. So right now, like I said, I wasn't happy with the way we were competing a few games ago, and now for 4 straight games, we've played a respectable brand of basketball, a competitive brand of basketball, and if that's the case, we will continue to do that, and we will live with the results. So, we just want our fans, especially here at home, to be proud of what we do. So I think nights like tonight, they should be proud of the young guys or the whole group. The whole group is very young, so that's how we move on to the next one and try to be better.
Michael, in that fourth quarter, what was just the biggest difference that allowed the Celtics team to go on the run and take the lead?
I think, we got a young team and we're like newly playing together. And I think like they've just been in so many situations in the fourth quarter as a group that they kind of knew how to execute down the stretch. And we're still figuring that out. I think we made strides, but I think we got to get organized and on the same page in the fourth quarter when the game tightens up. You got to play a different style of basketball because you're not going to get as many transition points. You're not going to get as many easy looks when the game kind of tightens up. So we got to figure out how we execute in those last 8-7 minutes, which we're still learning. We're young, so we'll get there. But I think that's just the difference. They've been there, and we haven't, as a group, been in the fourth quarter in games trying to win. We haven't it's just experience, and we'll get there.
This is an interesting situation because you're taking on the Celtics again on Friday. What can you take away, especially from the way you guys played in that first half with the pace and getting out to the lead?
Yeah, again, pace is one thing in the first half. It's very hard to maintain the same pace in the second half when the game kind of tightens, and that's just across the NBA. That's pretty normally how it goes. We can take the first half, the positives of the first half, and put it into the game plan next game. But we gotta look at that fourth quarter and look at how we can execute a little bit better, especially when the game kind of tightens up. And I think we'll be okay. But we got to look at the film. I think that fourth quarter especially and learn from that. But there was a lot of positives from that first half, but there was also a lot of things we can clean up.
Michael, you opened by talking about, getting this young team on the same page. Can that be frustrating for a veteran like yourself, especially considering like where you came from when everyone was kind of on the same page?
It's a good opportunity for all of us. It's not a frustration because it's not just them. It's all of us. We're all in this together. It's not necessarily young guys. It's when new groups of players get together. So it's not like I'm looking at it like the young guys need to catch up. I'm looking at it like, man, we got a whole new group who's never played together. So all of us as a unit needs to continue to learn each other, where we like the ball, what plays we need to run for each other, which I think we made strides in. That's why we're more competitive now than we were game 2, game 3. So I think that we're making strides and we're going to continue to get incrementally better. But, the Orlando game, this game, the previous game, we've been in the game. So I think that's a step in the right direction.
Michael, for you personally, obviously you had the 2 7-assist games over the weekend, but it felt like, you only 2 tonight, but like you have kind of some of the hockey assists, right, pass to pass, and end up. How well do you feel like you're kind of seeing the floor, not only from a passing perspective, but feeling like here's where I got to be aggressive, get shots myself, versus like I can help a teammate out through 1 pass or 2 pass?
Yeah, I think we're better, when everybody on our team is confident, when Noah's looking for his shot, when Tyrese is feeling good about his game, when T-Man has the ball in his hands and getting to the paint. So, my job is to, yes, shoot the ball and take tough shots and probably put up the most shots on the team, but it's also to try to involve everybody and make sure they're all feeling confident. Clax, getting him in actions and getting him to the free throw line, getting him downhill, I think that's important. So it's kind of a point of emphasis for me is like, yeah, there's some times where I maybe could shoot, but let's try to get everybody going. I think we're a much better team like that.
Day'Ron, overall, just what was the biggest issue, especially in that fourth, that allowed that Boston team to go on that extended 18-3 run?
I just think that, we wasn't hitting. We was getting good shots, but we just wasn't hitting any. I think they caused us to deflate on defense because we wasn't hitting wide open shots. But we got to just go into the next play, understand we need to get stops. We were trying to win, and just move on from there.
What do you attribute the tone and how you guys were able to come out in that first half with the pace, the fast break points?
We just we work on the same thing every day. It's just what the coaching staff preaches to us. Just sticking to the plan, keep working at it, and buying into what they're trying to get us to do. And I feel like it's working for us. But we got to learn how to do it for 48 minutes.
Jordi just applauded you guys, the second unit specifically, for what you guys did there in the third quarter, getting you guys back into it there late in the third. What do you think you guys did well kind of in that stretch that allowed you to, what was a double-digit, lead, and you shrunk that down and eventually took the lead?
I'll say, we just were playing hard, rebounding, everybody coming back together to rebound, running the offense. We was running a set that we felt like they couldn't stop, so just kept running that, and just it worked out for us.
Some of the defensive possessions where you're blitzing or trapping, and then you have to recover and get to like the second pass, close out to a shooter. How much, I guess, physical and athletic stress is that on you as a big man? And I guess, do you feel more capable doing that now in your career versus maybe earlier in your career?
I just personally, I just try to be in shape. So no matter where you at, wherever coverage he want to run, I can do it. So I remember the days I wasn't playing, so I just tried to do whatever I can to stay on the court, and wherever the coach wants to do as a big in defense, I'm gonna do it. So I just buy into it.
You had a couple nice moves around the rim tonight, and it feels like that's like kind of slowly but surely come along, not just this year but last year. Like, how much do you feel like your game has grown around the bucket, both kind of the moves themselves and your touch around the rim?
I just say, like I was saying last year, just confidence. Just having confidence in my game. We work on that all the time. Me and Jawan work on those moves all the time. And he telling me, Day, you got to just believe that you can do it. And so I just believe I can do it. When I get the opportunity to do it, I just do it.